How you doing, sir? How y'all doing? Good to see you, sir. How you doing?
Is it? Okay, I'm fine with that. Because it is very refreshing.
Haven't on yet, do you? It wasn't me. I know. Billy bought it for me about 25, 30 years ago. See, it's Mickey Mouse.
I saw that. I love it.
Yes, you never know where my kid Mickey is. Carrie, it's good to see you.
September 12, 2022 meeting of the Southampton School Board. We have 6 of our 8 appointed members present, so we do have a quorum. One of our members, Ms. Florence Reynolds has asked to join us by phone tonight, but we do need a motion from a board member in order for Ms. Reynolds to do so. So we have a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Lane. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. So Ms. Reynolds? Okay, can you hear us? Okay, thank you. The agenda was included in your board materials for the month. Is there a board member who would like to add an item to tonight's agenda? So we need a motion then to present the agenda as presented. We have a motion by Ms. Bradley, a second by Ms. Bunt. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes from our August 8th, 2022 meeting were included in our board documents. Are there any corrections to the minutes from the August 8th meeting? If there are no corrections, then the minutes are approved as distributed. We are now down to recognitions. We do not have any recognitions tonight. So the next item on the agenda will be public comments. So we're going to move into the public comment period of our meeting. Although Virginia law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we choose to do so because we believe it is important for us to hear from our community members. The Southampton County School Board values public participation and recognizes the importance of receiving public input on issues affecting the education of our children. The public comment period is a time for citizens and residents to express their views in order to inform the Southampton County School Board. Therefore, please do not expect board members to respond to comments or to answer questions during the public comment period. Even though we encourage public comment period, we ask that you respectfully follow several guidelines. One, members of the community who wish to speak should have signed up in the lobby during public comment, signed up on the sheet that was provided in the lobby prior to the start of the meeting. Two, the time limit for each individual is 3 minutes, so it's 3 minutes per speaker. The time limit has been created so that as many members of the public as possible who wish to speak may do so while still allowing sufficient time for the board to conduct other necessary business. We do have a visible timer so that speakers will know how much time is available. I will also remind speakers when they have reached their time allotment. Speakers may not give or yield their speaking time to another person. 3, speakers should address their comments to the board, not to the superintendent or other audience members. And 4, we ask that audience members refrain from comments and demonstrations such as booing, hissing, or clapping. So I will now call up speakers in the order in which they signed up. So the first speaker is Carolyn Kinney.
Can you hear me? No. Yes.
I got it.
Okay, calm down.
No.
Yeah, wait one.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. My name is Carolyn Kinney. I was employed in the school system for 6.5 years through August of 2022 as the English Second Language Specialist. I am owed $323.29 for unpaid mileage. 5 years I drove my car submitting mileage reports, receiving reimbursement, serving 4 schools. A county mileage form exists. One very vocal employee received mileage reimbursement during the 21-22 school year. 2020-21 school year, there were 11 ESL students. 21-22, there were 27 ESL students. 2019-20 school year, I averaged 153.1 miles per month. 21-22 school years, it was 165.5 miles per month average. And in 2021, I served 4 schools. In 21-22, I served 6 schools. Increased mileage reimbursement was $12.40 for the year. Serving all 6 schools during 21-22 school year, I requested a county car. 3 cars were issued me by Mr. Griffin, and they were not roadworthy, risking my safety and well-being. The second car, Mr. Griffin advised me to drive home to keep from having someone get it. The third car he issued was Mrs. Gillette's requesting a decent car. The vehicles violated state codes 46.2-10080, 46.2-1002, and 46.2-1003. They also violated VOCH, Virginia Occupational Safety and Health. They also violated OSHA Act 1970, Section 5 duties, HR, and workplace safety. A possible summation of penalties is approximately $500,000. I submit there is insurance fraud as well, given the condition of these vehicles, assuming they were insured under the county policy. I brought 4 packets that include detailing events in a letter previously hand-delivered to Mrs. Gillette, Mrs. Hicks, and Ms. Shannon. Included is the cover letter to the Board of Supervisors in July, and the laws with penalties as well. I am one of many teachers with similar stories. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Michael Long.
Good evening. My name is Michael Haynes, and I am the father of Southampton Middle School student, and also an individual working with a number of other people to organize a group called the Educational Improvement Organization, which is open to the public. I was very happy to hear that Southampton County Public Schools is now using programs such as Bridging the Gap and Teachers for Tomorrow. Could you, if time allows, inform us additional methods by which the school system plans to actively recruit and retain additional good quality teachers and bus drivers, increase transparency so that Southampton becomes a synonym for the term transparent, further ensure that the needs of our children and youth are being met, use audits that are categorically specific, and the recommendations from such as a beacon in financial planning, and touch on any additional methods that are being taken to further secure the data of our children and youth as cyber threats continue to grow. The mission of the Educational Improvement Organization, otherwise known as the SOCO-EIO, no relation to Devil McDonald, is simply by engaging and empowering families and communities to promote the better welfare of the children and youth within the Southampton County, Virginia School District by advocating for improved educational conditions within the district's K-12 facilities through legal, feasible, and respectable means. And we welcome the opportunity to partner with you, the school board, to further compose and tell the positive story of Southampton County Public Schools and help it become the best district in the Southeast region. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Emily Brown.
Good evening. My name is Emily Brown, and I have a freshman and a senior at Southampton High School. While there are many issues that I can discuss tonight, the main area I want to focus on is the removal of honors classes from Southampton High School. As you're aware, we have started the school year without honors classes, which is in direct violation of our 5-year gifted education plan signed last October by you. When I questioned administration about this, their solution is to change the gifted education education plan and remove all mention of honors classes from this plan, and have you sign a new plan. I find it irresponsible for administration to simply assume that you are going to sign this plan and begin school out of compliance with our current plan. And I'm asking you not to approve this plan for many reasons. Administration states that the reason behind this change in plan is due to the national teacher shortage. However, after conversations with administration and with the Department of Education, it is clear to me that the reason is more closely related to the difficulty of scheduling classes than to the teacher shortage. There will be no additional teachers required to teach honors classes. However, there will be some time and effort related to properly grouping the students and scheduling the classes. I understand that this will not be easy, but it is possible. Administration cannot state that offering honors classes is not possible because there has been no effort to even see how many students need or desire these classes. Students were not asked upon registration whether they were interested in taking honors classes. As you are aware, the Virginia Code requires differentiation of curriculum for gifted students. Let's talk about what that looks like without honors classes. Teachers will be asked to instruct multiple levels of learners within the same classroom. This is extremely difficult. We are placing the burden of not having honors classes on the teachers by requesting that they do more in each class. Our gifted and honor students will be held back because the teachers will only have so much time. And our lower level students will become frustrated. Our teachers will be exhausted and no one will win in this situation. No levels of our students will win. The AP classes that have been offered last minute do not eliminate the need for core honors classes. In the absence of core honors classes, our teachers will be stretched to their limit, and I dare say our discussion of teacher shortage will be even worse next year. Please do not approve this plan. Let's take the time we need to get this problem corrected immediately, and do not push this back to a later date. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Sabrina Strauss.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Strauss. I am a disabled combat veteran, and we moved out here about 2.5 years ago. We are new to this area, so what we would like to know is, as new parents to the area, how are we supposed to know about Schoology? How are we supposed to know about Power School? Coming from Virginia Beach, a lot of the information was put out to us. I didn't even know about this information until today, when one of the teachers put it over my mind that I should be looking on it. My daughter finally got her tablet on Friday. Yes, I was late to getting her registered into the school. I tried the middle school when she was in 6th grade, then I tried the private school for 7th grade. I homeschooled her last year. So, transportation is one of our biggest issues. I went to the open house on the 31st, and she's in 8th grade. I signed up there for transportation and the gym, and we were told that we should be getting some information back for that. And when I asked about the registration for transportation, she said that I should have done that, and I asked her about how do I know the student's ID. She said, well, you could have just used all zeros. I didn't know that. It wasn't said that on the computer. And then when my daughter started up for school, she signed up for the bus again when they pulled out all the students. Then I emailed transportation. I didn't get a response today. I put my daughter on the bus for transportation home. Then when she got on the bus driver said, you're not on my list. I have to do a special ride for you just to get you home. And he had to end up calling people to say, she's not supposed to be on my bus. So I have a 14-year-old daughter at home asking why is the bus driver on? I can't be on his bus, and I'm not supposed to be there. So a little bit of help from the administration will be great. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mandy Hall.
Good evening. I'm speaking tonight about an audit. So let me clarify a few things. The school activity fund audits are required by law. Each school is supposed to maintain a school activity fund, and the funds for the different activities such as band, funds are audited annually for each school. Each activity sponsor and principal is supposed to receive a student activity fund accounting manual according to the U.S. Department of Education. When I asked about this manual last year for FOIA, the response I got indicated it had not been given to all the appropriate people who are involved in student activity funds. These activity fund audits do occur every year in our division, and they have been previously conducted by Britain Peak and more recently Florence, Rock, Cornwall, and Painter. A review of these audits reveals several categories of expenditures mixed in with the activity funds. For example, a sewer system or a water heater. These funds should not be commingled. In the spirit of accountability and transparency, I would hope that you review these activity fund audits every year as a board and intend to post them on the division website. Now, the operating funds. As evidenced by this board's discussion on receiving the quote to conduct an audit, and by the fact that a FOIA request for copies of audits did not produce any such results, it's obvious that this board has not previously required an audit of the operating funds. The only part of the county's audit that includes school funds is for the federal pass-through funds from the Department of Ed. So just a fraction of the operating budget is part of the audit conducted by Creedle Jones and Associates on behalf of the county. The school board is the sole entity that can require an external, independent audit of operating funds. It's not up to the superintendent to make that choice, nor is it her responsibility to provide any guidance on who or how the audit should be conducted. Southampton County gives the school division the local funding they approved during the budget process in a lump sum, and then no one has any idea how it's actually spent. And yes, I understand this is the way the system is designed. That's also why the board should understand the need for the annual audit. Most school systems in Virginia look at the code of Virginia that require all local government entities to be audited, and they apply these professional standards. Unfortunately, since the code does not specifically include public school systems in this requirement, one can only assume that this board doesn't have that view and is just barely adhering to the minimum legal standards. Maybe if an audit was done, we would know why the federal Perkins funds were used to buy $20,000 worth of welding equipment in 2021 when we didn't even have a welding program in place at the high school. Same thing with drones, thousands of dollars spent, but no curriculum yet. Where are the drones? Where's the welding equipment? Here's a novel idea. What if you all donated your $5,000 yearly stipend to the cost of having an audit conducted? It would sure go a long way to restoring credibility and silencing the long list of questions we have regarding finance. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is William Brown.
Good evening. There are a number of issues I would like to discuss tonight, but in the spirit of keeping this within my 3 minutes allotted time, I'll focus on the decision to eliminate the offering of honors classes. I strongly feel this is a terrible decision, and I will share just a few reasons why I feel this way. I really believe in order to change our filed plan with the Department of Education that we should exhaust every possible option in trying to achieve this. Then, and only then, should you be voting to change the current plan. The best effort was not made here. For starters, we didn't ask students whether they'd like to register for honor students. You would think this would be done so that we have a solid number, a solid figure of students requesting honors. Once we have this number, then you can figure out, are we able to make this happen? We make a much more informed decision. Again, it's just easier to say we don't have enough teachers. How can we say this if we don't know the number of students requesting these classes? My first thought was, how do we ask our teachers, who are already stretched incredibly thin, to teach classes with students from both ends of the learning spectrum? Just in case I was way off base on this, I talked with several teachers to get their take. I had teachers tell me it was every bit as overwhelming to them as I thought it might be. A teacher shared students on the lower end of the spectrum would be intimidated and frustrated by gifted students. You will have many levels of frustration within the class. In this scenario, we fail everyone. Everyone loses, the teacher and the students. While talking to another teacher, a very respected and long tenured teacher, I was made aware of a situation that occurred this summer. They were asked why they had not signed their contract for the upcoming school year. Despite many unanswered emails detailing exactly why this contract had not been signed, the teacher responded again that they simply had concerns that they would like to discuss. Continuing to be ignored, another week, this teacher advised they did not feel they could in good conscience sign their contract. However, please call me to discuss this further. A couple weeks later, this teacher received a letter accepting their resignation. No other communication whatsoever. Again, this does not sound like a best effort being made. It's hard to believe, as bad as we need teachers, that we will treat a current teacher that we desperately need in this manner. To all the school board members, I hope and pray that you guys will ask leadership tough questions on this topic. It appears the superintendent is very confident he will vote along with a new plan to eliminate honors courses. As she stated, she started the year in direct violation of her current plan that you guys just approved last year. I urge you to please talk to a teacher to find out for yourselves what is being asked of them. Please do not vote along with this plan without exhausting every possible way to achieve our current plan, just because this is the easier road. Find out what chaos the first week was for the students, teachers, office staff, and guidance department. Lastly, my 9th grade son has heard quite a bit about the teacher shortage. He asked me, Dad, do you ever think we'll have enough teachers that we won't have a school? This part hurt me the most. As a lifelong resident in this county who loves this county and this school, that I could not with absolute certainty say, no, son, you don't have to worry about that. I truly feel with what we're asking of our teachers that we will lose many more, and we're closer to this day of not having enough than we are anything else. Again, I urge you, please talk to a teacher. Don't take my word for it. Don't take the superintendent's word for it. What we currently have going on is unacceptable. Please do not vote to approve eliminating the plan of honors courses. We owe it to our students and our teachers to give a better effort.
The next speaker is Mary Ann Clark.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Ann Clark, and I'm a lifelong resident of Southampton County. I have a senior in high school as well as a sophomore, and there's little doubt that no institution is more important to the well-being of any community, its children, and its future than our public school systems, and ours is no exception. Over the last several years, there has been a significant decline in the quality of communication between our hired school officials, our appointed school board, and the parents and taxpayers who pay the bills in this county. While it is not incumbent on the superintendent or school board members to respond to every nitpicking comment or criticism regarding their decisions, it is important to remember who in fact pays the bills and who you are ultimately accountable to, those same parents and taxpayers. This administration has taken the stance of one that believes it is quite frankly above reproach. It has treated parents and stakeholders as a nuisance rather than the backbone of the system that we are. It has ignored the pleas of employees who have begged for better working conditions and for relief from the bureaucratic bullies who micromanage every waking action. It has thumbed its nose at law enforcement as well as those in the community, and this administration has routinely ignored and underreported behavioral issues of students whose actions threaten the safety of classmates and trained professionals. We have learned recently that this administration is so blind to security issues that it has in fact hired a convicted felon within our school system. The background check was simply not done on this individual, and they reported to work today. None of these actions are acceptable, and these actions are not indicative of a system whose motto is expanding excellence. On that note, let me say that our school system is not at all excellent right now, with the exception of our hardworking teachers. In fact, it would be hard-pressed with statistics I don't have the time to review this evening to find areas in which we're superior to any other school in the state. Test results show that in fact Southampton High School comes in 164th out of 325 high schools. We are asking you, stop accepting the status quo. Do your job that you were appointed to do. There will be a referendum on the ballot in the fall, which will allow residents of this county to decide if they want to directly elect their school board or continue to allow 3 individuals to appoint those school board members. I would encourage each of you to look in the mirror, search your soul, and answer the question, status quo or a collaborative approach? On its current path, I would suggest this school board is on a trajectory which will find it on the wrong side of history. Time is running out to correct your course. Thank you.
The next speaker is J. Gary Kirkland.
Good evening. I come before you again requesting you all to additionally look into the VRS for us transportation. I know it was looked at one time, then we had a pandemic, and I haven't been able to get here, but just wanted to say that after convocation, I asked a question, and it was concerning the retirement system. I said, so are we going to be us drivers will be able to be in the retirement system this year? And the response I got started with a chuckle and said something to the effect of, no, that takes a process. Well, we've had a process going on for a long time. And I know that we have a lot of our drivers that are already retired. Some here just for a little bit of pocket change, gas money, insurance, as I shared before, but there are those of us that are here that we need retirement. We like what we're doing. I love what I'm doing. The only reason I'm still here and not at another place is because this is home for me. Even though I didn't graduate from Southampton County. But this is home for me. I've lived here all my life. And I feel that something could be done. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but those that don't, with us making such a low salary, we have a lot of our people who don't want the money to come out of their paycheck, that 5% or whatever the percentage is. As I suggested a few months ago, the school system could pay that 5%. That way more of us could be in retirement. Of course, you all would have to decide on one of ours. But I felt really kind of put down when I got that response out of convocation. But, a little chuckle and then, no, that takes a process. Because it's almost like, yeah, we'll work on it. But yeah, it kind of hurts. And I'm not perfect at it. But I do love what I'm doing and where I am. And I feel like that if we are as important to you, the board, the administration, as you all say we are, then something could be done. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of the persons who spoke tonight. We have no matters from previous meetings, so we're down to action items. So the first action item is the financial report and payment of bills. Dr. Shannon.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Joy Carr will come forward and give that report to the board. Ms. Donnelly. Ms. Carr.
Good evening. If I could bring your attention to the preliminary expenditure report for the month of August. If you'll notice that our local operating budget for fiscal year 22-23 remains at $36,980,311. Actual expenditures through August 31st total $2,449,172.54. This leaves us a balance of $34,531,138.46. Please note that as of the date of this report, 6.62% has been expended from the operating budget. The August bill list has been attached to the agenda for the board's approval tonight. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Carr? by Ms. Lane that we pay the bills as presented. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clark. The next item on the agenda is the School Crisis Emergency Management and Medical Emergency Response Plan. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, the purpose of the Southampton County Public Schools Crisis Emergency Management and Medical Emergency Response Plan is to establish a framework for emergency preparedness and response by specifying actions to be taken before an emergency, during an emergency, and after an emergency. Tonight, we will have Mr. Alfred Charity, who is our school safety and security specialist, to give a report to the board regarding this matter. Mr. Charity?
Good afternoon. I present to you today our school crisis emergency management and medical emergency response plan for the 2022-2023 school year. The purpose is to establish a framework, as Dr. Shannon has stated, ensure the safety of all Southampton County public schools, staff, and students. We will implement this plan in case of any emergency. The framework that we have here is for critical incidents and medical emergencies. Critical incidents will be incident commanders with the public safety or emergency management agencies and their administrators. School nurses and EMTs will take care of all medical emergencies. Organization of our plan for critical incidents to include natural and technological disasters, thunderstorms, weather, fire hazards, hostage kidnappings, threats. We all have that in organization of our plan. Continue for our emergency, medical emergencies. We have cardiac arrest, serious illness, drug overdoses, playground accidents, and serious other athletic injuries, and acts of violence. I have experienced these all in my 20 years of being in education. So a good plan goes a long way. Prevention and mitigation. We have here in our plan for natural hazards, flood, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. We have those in place just in case something happens. VDOE, prevention and mitigation. DCJS classes have been taken. We have security officers that assist with the plan that we have. Okay, our threat level last year from DCJS was at threat level 0. We have 2 resource officers, one assigned to the high school and one assigned to the middle school. We also have 6 school security officers at each school at this time. Sheriff's Department, we report to them also, and we have a low threat of related incidents for last year. For our preparedness, for our division crisis management team, it starts with the superintendent, and then we slide over to the public safety officials who become the critical incident commanders at the time of a critical incident. And then it goes to me. I'll be the emergency manager for the division, and I will relay any information from public safety officials and the superintendent down towards the people that are listed below. Facilities, human resources, technology. Nothing will come out of the division unless the superintendent or the public safety officials state that it needs to leave the circle from the critical incident in the information. The management team, school crisis management team, is led by the principal or a designee and their alternate. It's comprised of teachers, guidance counselors, school nurses, and school psychologists. They assign responsibilities within the incident command system. We'll conduct briefings after the conclusion of each crisis and conduct periodic reviews and updates in staff training. These staff trainings are conducted during staff meetings. Our protocols, we have evacuation off-site, response procedures, recovery procedures, step-by-step emergency responses, and communication tools. I delivered a presentation today to the ninth graders, and we went over some of these things. So hopefully they took it home to their parents. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Charity, for that overview. Is there a board member who has a question? The entire plan was included in your board documents, and Mr. Charity just gave us a summary of what's there. Any questions? And then do we have a motion then to approve the plan? We have a motion by Ms. Reynolds.
Second.
A second by Ms. Bradley. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Well,
The next item on the agenda is the amended local plan for the education of the gifted and advanced placement course offerings. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Kelly Gillette will come forward and talk about the suggested amendments to our gifted local plan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Shannon, board members and all present. Last year in October, you reviewed and approved the gifted local plan for our division. It is a plan that's updated every 5 years. And this year, I'm asking for an amendment due to a teacher shortage. We're asking that the word honors be removed from the gifted local plan. And we want to say that when we ask about, do we have enough teachers? When we talk about the honors classes, if we were able to offer one honors class for each grade level, we have so many kids taking different courses that they couldn't all possibly be in the same honors class. If they were taking either 2 honors and then world history honors was offered at the same time, they couldn't do that, or if the courses did not line up with what they're doing. So, due to the teacher shortage, we're asking that you remove the word honors from our gifted local plan at this time.
Any questions for Ms. Gillette?
Yes. If we remove honors from the gifted plan, what comes in place of it? Or that is equal to?
So, when we talk about differentiation, and we're going to talk about it in the report that's coming up right now. We have differentiation in K through 12. So, when they're in kindergarten, they're all in the same classroom, they all receive the differentiation. Same occurs when they come up into 5th grade. You know, we have 2 separate classes at the elementary schools. And our teachers do differentiation in the classroom. That's what they do. Differentiation is a response to learning needs. And same thing with middle school. There's students in there. Now the beauty about when they get into high school, there are different classes they can choose from. For example, if they came to do math, the higher level students will have taken Algebra 1 at the middle school level, and they come in to take Geometry and Algebra 2, whereas other students coming in would take Algebra 1. Same thing goes for science. Students that may be struggling with some of the science would have environmental science when they come into 9th grade, and then our higher level kids, or on level kids, can take biology. And we do have several sections of those classes for those students to sign up for. Same with history. When they come in, they can take world geography or they can take world history 1. Our English, we do not have different English classes, but we would have differentiation in the classroom, which would include research, would include collaborating with the students in there with their same intellect. It would be having creative thinking, strategic problem solving. It would be research papers. We even talked about right now for science, we have science fair. So there are lots of things that get put in place for students to have differentiation in their classrooms.
What about AP?
Okay, so with our AP classes, right now, we are very fortunate. We've always had our dual enrollment in AP courses in 11th and 12th grade. About 3 years ago, we were able to add 10th grade onto those dual enrollment classes. So if you were going decided you want to go the college route, you could start your dual enrollment classes in 10th grade, take summer classes if you wanted to in between, but you could very clearly finish your associate's degree in your senior year. So we look at the AP courses, and that is different from the dual enrollment because they do have college level work in the class, but they must take an AP exam through the College Board and pass that to get the credits for the college. In our case, our students must take the class. And everything with AP and the testing is included with Southampton County PACE, our division. So in 9th grade, we are offering art and design, AP, environmental science, AP, and computer science, AP, for our 9th graders. In 10th grade, same thing, those three, but also AP macroeconomics. We will continue to keep our AP classes that we currently have in 11th and 12th grade right now. So that's where we're at.
So this doesn't affect, if honors is dropped, does this affect the associate's degree?
Not at all, not at all. As a matter of fact, we have students that right now, they don't have to take dual enrollment, they don't have to take AP, they can get an advanced diploma just from taking our classes, 9th through 12th grade. They can get the 26 credits for an advanced diploma. And with the associate's degree, having honors has nothing to do with having dual enrollment dual credit to get your associate's degree.
Okay. Any additional questions? So perhaps Ms. Gillette can go on and talk about do the rest of our presentation before we
Yes,
vote.
ma'am. I've already talked about much of it as I move forward. But as I was talking about differentiation, and you can see the picture right there, and it's what our teachers do every day to make things happen. They're going to get those students where they need to be, whether they have to go straight through the wall, underneath the wall, or over it, whatever it takes for those students. And as I said, that differentiation is a response to student needs, and it occurs in grades K through 12, and all that it does for supporting all students. And when we talk about our program of studies has continued to grow over the years, and we have so many course offerings right now that are specifically designed to all types of learners. We look at interest, we look at readiness for our students, and we use that to move forward on what the interesting classes for our students to request. So we have made those modifications. We've added AP classes in there. We've added other CTE classes that have been approved this year as well. And as we talked about, we want to make sure that whether students are going to college, or whether they're going to work right after graduation, or whether they're going into the military, that we meet the profile of a student graduate, the 5 C's of learning. So our advanced placement classes, just like we had talked about, the students must take the AP exam. Everything is paid for by Southampton County Public Schools, and it is a way for students to experience college level work in high school and possibly be able to earn college credit. And we do have other partnerships. We've mentioned Camp Community College, the AP Board. We look at Virtual Virginia and Edmonton, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go ahead. We've already talked a lot about dual enrollment, our partnership with Camp Community College. We do have in-house teachers that are approved by Camp Community College that teach our dual enrollment right here at school. These classes cost the students $20 a credit, so usually about $60 a class. We also have asynchronous by Quality Camp Community College providing professors. And as we say, the cost of having in-house, if it is a synchronous or asynchronous professor from Camp Community College, we as a division pay half of that tuition, and the other half is paid by families. And for this to happen, certain criteria must happen: approval from Camp Community College, approval from the principal, a signature from the parent approving that, and making sure that the students are prepared to take these dual enrollment classes. For our Virtual Virginia classes, we have the option of synchronous and asynchronous. So for the synchronous, They are still remote classes, but a Virginia certified teacher would be live in that classroom to teach the students, and we would have a facilitator in the room. So this would happen on a regular school day, every day, and as I said, we pay for the tuition for these students for Virtual Virginia. If it is asynchronous, this doesn't happen all the time, but there are specific courses that a student may need that they're able to take class through Virtual Virginia. And they would have, again, a Virginia certified teacher, but it would not be live. With Edmentum, we have used Plato through Edmentum for several years, and that consists of having modules that students follow through and take a test after each module. So that is a synchronous way to have Edmentum classes. But we also have live synchronous classes through Edmentum for a teacher that would be live in the classroom, not in the classroom, by Zoom. They would be in the classroom and we would have a facilitator as well. And again, Southampton County Public School pays the tuition for these students to take these classes. And whether it's an AP class or a regular education class, Edmentum would be able to provide that for us. And that is something new, it's called Ed Options, that they put forward in the last couple of years so that we would be able to look at it and take advantage of it if necessary.
Okay, any additional questions for Ms. Gillette?
Yes, well, English, there's not an AP English class?
Yes,
We do
there is
have-
an AP English class.
There is?
Yes.
In the ninth grade?
No, it's 11th grade AP English.
So
11th is 12th.
That's well.
the Virginia Department of Education, we do the standards of learning and our students are tested. In high school, where we are tested is 11th grade English. They aren't tested with SOLs in 9th or 10th or 12th grade. We do offer AP English Literature and Composition, and we do offer English 12 to enrollment as well.
Any other questions for Ms. Gillette? So do we have a motion to approve the amended local plan? We have a motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Ms. Reynolds. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then the motion is passed. Next item on the agenda will be the approval of policies. We looked at these policies for a second read last month. I don't think we need to talk about each individual policy, but if you have a question about a policy, then we can talk about that specific one. But there was a list of policies. We've had them for 2 months, so you've had a chance to look at them for 2 months. Do you have questions about any of these policy updates? So do we have a motion then to approve all of these policy updates? We have a motion by Ms. Bradley, a second by Mr. Scott, to approve the policy updates. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then we have approved the policy updates, and our policy manual will reflect these changes, and we'll have the dates that the changes were approved. We are now down to informational items. So the first informational item is an update on the beginning of school. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, we've had a wonderful beginning of the school year. Our students and teachers appear to be eager to return from their summer breaks. Our staff has been trained and they are ready to address some of our students' social and emotional needs, as well as academic, athletic, and our students' artistic needs. We have had open houses, and we also had this year a 6th grade orientation and a 9th grade orientation. The 6th grade orientation this year was held a little differently than it is normally held, and the principals will talk a little bit about that when they come before you all. So at this time, we'll have our principals to share with the school board and the public some of the things that occurred during the first days or the first week of school. We'll start with the elementary principals, and we essentially have a running PowerPoint, so everyone is using the same template, and middle and high will follow the elementary principals. Our elementary principals are Mrs. Susan Melby, Nottaway, Mrs. Tammy Rayleigh, and Mrs. Keisha Walker, Riverdale, Mrs. Susan Fowler, Maharan, and Mrs. Natasha Rose, Capron Elementary School. So principals.
Ms. Rose, you first.
Okay.
That was a question.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm first. I will explain for the presentation.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, I'm Ms. Rose, principal at Capron. We had a great start to our school year. As the presentation comes up, our enrollment is up compared to last school year. We also had open house where we welcomed over 100 families into Capron. Our first week also went well, again, welcoming students back from homeschool, transfers to our division. Again, we are off and running. We smoothed out some of our transportation issues, working with the transportation department. Again, we at Capron are rocking and rolling and loving and welcoming our baby.
I'm Susan Melby. I'm the principal at Nottaway Elementary School. I have 255 students that are enrolled, and out of that 255, I had approximately about 175 come to open house. So that was a wonderful thing to have all of the parents and students and welcoming them back. The first week went very smoothly. We also hashed out any transportation issues, and just as of today, we have set up the remind system for our buses to make sure that everybody's good to go.
Hey, I'm Susan Fowler. I'm the principal at Maharan Elementary School. Like the other principals have started off, we had a really great first week. Our open house was a success. We did do that on Monday the 29th from 3 to 6. All of us elementary schools did the same. We had over 150 of our students and their families come join us, so that was nice to be able to get back into the swing of things. Our first week, our enrollment is up quite a bit. We have 241 students currently enrolled at Maharan. And during that, like they said, we anticipated, some of the challenges with the transportation, just getting it ironed out with new enrollments, not on the bus list. But as today, we have all students' transportation, for the most part, with the exception of a few, taken care of on the bus or in our car pickup lines, and we are rolling at Maharan.
I'm Keisha Walker, co-principal at Riverdale Elementary School. We also had our open house, and we welcomed 400 plus students and their families. Our enrollment this year to date is 556 students, and it's up in in most of our grade levels and down a little in the others. We had 4 pre-K classes last year. This year we added another class, so we have 5 pre-K classes. And the first day went well. Transportation went well for us, with the exception of one delayed bus with runs for the high school. But after that, everything else has run smoothly for us as far as day one. And Ms. Rayleigh will share some of the other things that took place on our first day.
Yes, so I am Tammy Rayleigh, the other co-principal at Riverdale Elementary School, and we have had a great start to a bright school year. That's our motto this year. We're bright and eager, and we're ready to roll. We have had a smooth transition. Transportation was very smooth for us. The only issue we have to continue to work on is just our pickup line, because we get backed up, but we have rectified that last year because we have so many cars that come through our pickup line. It's over 220 people that have car tags, that we're dealing with 220 cars every afternoon right there on the highway. But we have a plan. When we get to the road, then we send our access cars over to the service road. So we've done well with transportation. Our kids are excited to be back. We've welcomed over 30 brand new students, not including our kindergarten babies, but over 30 students back. So we're just ready to roll. You can see here some of our open house pictures. We had Charlie the Cardinal there as our mascot. Parents could take pictures of their students with him, and just some of our first day pictures. They were all excited to be back, and our staff there, they have bright shirts ready for a bright school. So we're excited.
Just to let the board know, our
a little different, because we did it during the summer. Also because we asked you parents to trust us and go about your way so that we could get them acclimated to Southampton Middle and the way we do things and go through classes. And so really, our orientation was about team building, getting to know us, we getting to know them. We fed them breakfast, we fed them lunch. I did have 2 different dates for orientation, but we had a total of 173 students attend out of the 193 that I have enrolled, which was excellent because that was 90% of our population. We also had a great turnout at open house, which was on August the 30th. We had 125 of our 6th grade parents join us. Our 6th graders are getting off to a great start, so kudos to elementary principals again, because those babies are resilient. They adjust well to change. They actually learned all their bus numbers by the 2nd day. And then those that came in that were new, we just got them on board and we're still tweaking, but 6th grade is off to a great start. And I just wanted to say thank you all for your support.
Good evening, I'm Billy Jenkins. I'm the 7th grade middle school principal. We kicked everything off with our open house, where we invited parents in to meet all the teachers, receive their schedules, where students can understand placement and get familiar with the new culture and the new strategies we had here within the middle school to see them succeed. Throughout the last week was one of my best weeks in the middle school. I've been here 17 years. It was smooth, the transition was smooth, the kids bought in, teachers bought in, which made our jobs a lot easier. We kicked everything off last week with our PBIS introduction week, where we introduced all the students to our PBIS program and explained to them how positive behavior influences their grades and what they needed to do to achieve at the highest level. And we used our PBIS strategies that we have in place over the past 3 years. We had our first ever school spirit day, PBIS day on Friday, whole school dressed in red and white. Also big news for the week was our JJB football team won their first game in program history. The smile on the kids' faces as they walk off the field. You know, we built this thing from the bottom. In 5 years, we haven't got a win. And we got our first game the other night, and we dominated. And the smile as those kids come off the field made all the bad days work from the days when I had to coach them the first year. We do nothing. But that was something for us to be proud of as a school. And what we have to look forward to in the future.
And you all, we did celebrate our staff. The first week of school is very challenging, but they rose to the occasion. We are very family oriented, and just to say thank you to the staff on the first week and thank them for their hard work. We did end Friday with a little grab-and-go lunch from Subway just to celebrate our teachers and to tell them thank you. Our enrollment is up there for you. Our numbers have gone down, and I'm sure that is due to a number of reasons, but we're going to focus on the positive, and we still have students coming in every day enrolling in all grade levels. So the good news is we're going to focus on the positive and keep pulling our babies back. Second slide.
Good evening, I'm Mark Barfield, the 8th grade principal. We're excited with our 8th graders, and we started every class meeting last week with the class of 2027. We're beginning with the end in mind. We'll be asking our 8th graders to think about what they want to become by the time they reach 12th grade. And we operate with the 8th grade this year on 4 E's. We know everyone is not going to go to college, so therefore we talk about that one of the E's that they should be able to enroll in higher level education. Secondly, they should be able to enlist in armed services. The third, they should have employability skills. And then fourthly, they should be able to become an entrepreneur. Even yet, those are the 4 E's that we're stressing to our 8th graders, and as we move and talk with them about making the right choices. And our teachers have been very instrumental in laying the foundation, reviewing the PBIS, talking to them about expectation, and we're looking forward to a great year as we strive to plan things to make that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade a great year. As we know that the 8th grade, we're trying to have them think in mind of being seniors, or being the leaders of the building, and so we're asking them to make sound decisions. Also, we are working on making Southampton Middle School a better, positive place in the community. So we're doing some beautification to our building. The building was deep cleaned before the teachers came back, an outside company came in. Also at this time, when we walked over, the painters were there painting the halls, the classroom, trying to beautify, and there's some other physical improvement that we're trying to do for security and safety. And as always, if there are any questions, concerns, we're only a phone call away to answer your needs. We want to make sure that all of our scholars are successful and that they're ready for this global society. Thank you.
And I do want Mr. Jenkins to speak to the enrollment. Would you talk a little bit about the numbers?
Yes, ma'am. Our enrollment numbers, as we look at them, and they have decreased. It's fiction to some degree. The reason our numbers have decreased is because last year our 8th grade group we had come through the middle school was over 200, and I think it was 255 kids. That's a huge group. So, we were able to go from 5 lunches a day to now we have 3 lunches a day. So those groups come through on a rotating basis. So it could be in the next couple of years we have another group that comes through similar to that, which bolsters our numbers. So what we see at the middle school level many years is our attendance goes up and down. It depends on what comes up from the elementary schools. It just happened to be that last year's group was really, really large. When they left, it left a little hole, but I think overall, 7th grade, our numbers basically stayed the same. 6th grade numbers were actually higher. The only number that actually dropped was the 8th grade group. So it might look alarming on paper, but when you really sit down and figure out why it happened, it's not as alarming as it looks. And as we know, they're all here with Dr. Bud at the high school now.
Thanks, Eugene. Because we do look at the enrollment at the elementary levels, we're not surprised by the numbers at the middle school because we look at the numbers of students in 5th grade to look at how many will be in 6th grade. So we weren't too surprised. Dr. Blunt?
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Mr. Smith, members of the board, Dr. Shannon. My name is Michelle Blunt, and I'm the interim principal at Southampton High School. We have focused our attention on continuing to expand excellence. And I'd like to acknowledge the administrative team, Mr. Paul Jackson, assistant principal, Ms. Marilyn Holder, assistant principal, and Mrs. Devonda Gary is our dean of students. Next slide. At the onset of the year, we did a book read, and we make reference to it as we plan and we navigate through problem solving and troubleshooting. The name of the book is You Win in the Locker Room First, and it's by Mike Smith and Gordon. It focuses on C's. And I picked or selected one phrase from the book that aligns with expanding excellence. And that is, we are seeking to expand excellence with purpose, passion, optimism, and belief. Next slide. We hosted open houses for all of our grade levels. We had approximately 380 people in attendance that included students as well as their parents. And you can see from the pictures, we had an opportunity to have our nurse present. Medical needs were addressed. We gave each 9th grade student a backpack, and thanks to our 9th grade team, we listened to the suggestion of having interactive notebooks. So we stuffed the backpacks with notebooks. They also got water bottles as well. The cheerleaders served as hostesses. They helped the students find places throughout the building. In other words, they served as tour guides, and you couldn't miss them because they were dressed in their uniforms. In addition to that, we distributed iPads. We also shared transportation routes. We also addressed opportunities at Paul D. Camp Community College. So there was was a wealth of information that the students received, and again, we were pleased to entertain approximately 380 students. Next slide, please. You can see that we are very active with our fall sports, and it sort of aligns with winning, and winning starts in the locker room first. Just like the middle school, we fed our staff too. So you can see the nice spread, and that was prepared by one of our parents. So that was really, really good. And you can see from those pictures, we hope that they depict culture, contagious attitudes, consistency, communication, connection, commitment, care, coaching, and character. Next slide, please. Continuing, you see our fall sports again. You can see those acronyms and those C's as we try to depict excellence. Continue. Our enrollment has improved by 15 students. We have 233 ninth graders, 212 10th graders, 150 11th graders, 149 12th graders. Thank you. And we look forward to continuing to expand excellence. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the superintendent or any of the principals? The next item on the agenda is the update on special education and social emotional learning. Dr. Shannon.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Taylor will give that presentation, and then after that presentation, she will talk a little bit about some of the testing updates from the State Department. Dr. Taylor. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Mrs. Smith, board members, parents, citizens of the community. I'm going to give a brief update on the Department of Special Education. First, just to give you all a heads up about our values. We have compliance, efficiency, reliability, and commitment as our core values. Some things that happened over the summer with us in the Department of Special Education. We had an attorney from Sands Anderson, his name is Jason Bowden. He came in during our pre-service days and presented Special Education 101 to all faculty. All teachers and staff who work with students with special needs have been provided copies of the IEPs with the students' accommodations. And all special education staff met on August 26th with my department. And they see their rosters, eligibility days, any new data from BDOE, specifically the JLOC report and compliance updates. Under the JLOC report, we will be audited again like they used to do in special education. Last year was the first year, this is the second year. We have not come up yet, but we will be audited within the 5 years. Some committees for the special education department. We do have a special education advisory committee. And their purpose is to provide opportunities for parents and school board appointees to have a voice in the way that we service our students with disabilities. We also have a dyslexia committee. And the purpose of this committee is to just focus on students and an action plan for those students who may qualify under the area of dyslexia, which is under the area of students with learning disabilities. We have an assistive technology committee chaired by Dr. Andrew Leonard as well. And the priority for that group is to actually work with any assistive technology that the students may need. That includes things like FM systems, any tablets or anything that we may have to give students so that they can have a fair opportunity. Next, I just want to talk about eligibility. And I know we all can't see that back here. I know I can't anyhow. But if you look at this sheet, it just tells you how many meetings we held each month, and how many qualified, how many did not qualify, and the different areas that they qualified in. Social emotional learning, Dr. Shannon mentioned this earlier. This is a huge target for us. We focused on it since we actually came back from the pandemic, but now even more so. To address this, we have a behavioral health team. And Rhonda Rabnell, our school psychologist, she's the facilitator of the team. I'm on the committee, Dr. Harris Muhammad, our school social worker, Cheryl Boone, Capering Elementary guidance counselor, all of the school's guidance counselors. And just for social emotional learning, you know, we're talking about the process through which individuals learn and apply a set of emotional, social, and related skills. They meet, the BHT, the Behavior Health Team, meet once every month to discuss strategies for assisting students and staff with their social emotional needs. We actually had professional development speakers come in last year through Zoom, and they provided specific topics to those teachers, to the counselors. Trauma-induced environment, PSTD, they talk about everything. Suicidal ideation. And we've also attended conferences outside of the school division for school-based health leadership. Are there any questions? So for testing, just a few updates for testing. I am the Division Director of Testing, DDOT, and Dr. Harris Muhammad is the DDOT 2. So the updates that we have for testing is just the student growth assessments, which we started last year actually, DDOT training, and parent portal training. Here are some of the trainings that we've already attended. We get numerous opportunities to participate in training from DDOT, maybe 4 or 5 sessions a month, sometimes even more. But those are some of the sessions there, and I won't read them. Student growth assessments. The student growth assessments actually started last year for the Department of Education. What they decided to do was give students an assessment at the beginning of the year and then compare it to where they are at the end of the year with the spring SOL test. This year, we actually have 3 sessions. We have a fall growth assessment, a mid-year growth assessment, and the end of the year SOL test. Some of the differences this year is that, first of all, reading and math are the only 2 subjects that we do growth assessments for. But one difference this year is that the SGAs must be given in 1 day. So it's not going to be strict SOL testing guidelines like normal. They have to take those tests in 1 day. The Department of Education does not want to focus so heavily on these assessments because it's actually materials that the kids have not been taught yet. And our dates at a glance for fall, we'll get the fall 2022 growth assessment, the fall SOL test, and of course, that's for the high school, and that includes high school writing. In spring, we do the winter growth assessment, which is that mid-year one. We do the spring 2023 SOL test, including high school and middle school writing. Something new that they began last year and we did not participate in, but we will this year, is the parent portal. We have to train the parents on how to go into a portal that the DOE is actually giving us to review SOL test scores and parent SGA scores. So the parents will actually be able to log into a system and see the fall growth assessments. They'll be able to see the student detail by question or performance, of course, for their child in the SOL test assessment. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Taylor or for Dr. Shannon concerning either the special education, special social emotional learning, or testing? Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shannon. The next item is the instructional report. Dr. Shannon.
Yes, Mrs. Gillette will come back before the board, and this time she'll talk about the instructional report. She'll discuss convocation, beginning of the year professional development, some of the sessions that our teachers and administrators participated in, as well as the opportunity for us to send a team to the Virginia Leads Innovation Network.
Good evening again. I do have the September 2022 instructional report. And our theme this year for professional development was making learning magical. We had our new teacher orientation. As you can see, I've included the agendas there. And we had lots of things for our teachers to do to get to know each other, get to know us. We had a training on standards of learning. We also did in-services on lesson design, differentiated instruction, informative assessments, and also special ed did a presentation with them as well. That was over a 2-day period. Here's some of the pictures. Of course, the day one, we had our board chair and our superintendent, along with some other board members and all of our administration and central office staff there greeting our new teachers and staff. For convocation, we of course had the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts there assisting us, and we had Miss Tiffany Madison, our Teacher of the Year for 2021-2022. She presided over our convocation. We also had Ms. Rhonda Ravenel. She sung for us at the convocation. We had introduction of new staff. We also included handing out pins, service pins to all of our staff. And we had the guest speaker of Chris Campagna. He did Get Your Teach On. He was a former host of Radio Disney. He's an education influencer, and he was amazing what he thinks he did with our audience, with our teachers, to get them motivated and into this coming up school year. And here's some of the pictures. As you can see, our staff is very excited to have them. And when I said we're making learning magical, we actually have, you can see here, and you see some of our teachers walking around, we have two different kinds of tie-dye t-shirts, and they wore them on Thursday, the last day of our professional development. And on the front, it says SPS, it's making learning magical, which is meaningful, adventurous, genuine, innovative, creative, authentic, and legendary. We did have a professional development committee that included teachers and administrators, and we had many of our teachers and a lot of our administrators as well that conducted in-services and professional development with our teachers. We also, for the first time, since we had professional development the second week instead of the first week, our paraprofessionals were able to attend all the training as well. Here's some of the pictures of welcoming back. We were able also, from generosity of Dr. Shannon, provide gifts for our teachers. And when I say gifts, we had raffle tickets where we drew the numbers, and we had lots of teaching supplies. We had gift certificates from Grayson and Emma's, given to us by them. And we also had teacher paid teacher gift certificates as well. We had several $5 ones, $10 one, and we had a $25 one as well. Some of the sessions that you'll see coming up, we had so many of them for to choose from, but we did have some that were required. We had a literature retreat for grades K through 3, the differentiated instruction session, the SPED 101 that Dr. Taylor spoke of. We had active shooter preparedness training, and we also had grade level content meetings. So we used SCED, again, which is an online app for the teachers and staff to see the classes and offerings that we had, and they would choose. We had a cap on some of the classes, but they were repeated several times during the day, so they could get to one if it was full. This is an example of some of the things that it looked like. This was just one section that they could choose from. And I didn't list all of them, I'm not going to read all of them to you, but we had 42 different sessions over that 3-day period. And we also, to make fun for the staff, we had spirit days. And as you see, on Monday at convocation, we had Dress to Impress. Tuesday, we had School Spirit Day. They could wear their school colors. On Wednesday, we had Jersey Day, your favorite sports team. And then on Thursday, as I said, we had the tie-dye Making Learning Magical shirts. And these are just some pictures of the in-services we had. You see Miss Melby, she is actually doing transforming their room. She had different kits that they could show them how to use in their rooms. And also, we have Valen, which is Virginia Leads Innovation Network cohort, and we do have a team put together, Dr. Tanya Taylor, Dr. Shauna Harris Muhammad, Dr. Michelle Blunt, and Miss Susan Melving will be going to this training. It's 3 in-person meetings throughout the school year, and it will help prepare for innovative ideas to complete the Virginia graduate that we spoke of earlier, the 5 C's, Profile Virginia Graduate. That is the instruction floor. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Gillette? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. next item on the agenda is the maintenance and transportation report. Dr. Shannon?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Melvin is on his way to discuss maintenance and transportation and a lot of the updates that we are making to the school division.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Goodwin Board. Lots going on. That pace to walk right there has been my pace for about the last 2 weeks. So I'm about execution this week. We've had a lot going on throughout the summer and into August here. We cleaned at the high school, middle school. It was a much needed facelift for both buildings. We had a crew from Grosset Chem Drive from Forest came in, and they dusted, they disinfected, they all of the vents, the lights, the restrooms, all the high-tech services, everything was wiped down, disinfected, and sanitized. And it has made, you can see the difference in both schools, a big difference. We're in the middle, almost wrapping up, I should say, on the painting project, both here at the high school and at the middle school. And really, it is night and day. Just walking through and seeing the areas that have been completed, it's brightened it up, it's given a sense of new to the schools, and it's really put a charge into folks at both schools. Like I said, we will go through and get a punch list with them and wrap this up this week with both crews to have them complete. Other things going on, the athletic lighting project. This is something that came through and they brought a crane in and those lights went up fast. It just, I came up here in the parking lot, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I thought we were doing this afternoon, and it was already done. So it's fantastic to see I had written last week that the footings were done, the poles were getting ready to go up, and then I go out there and they're already up. So it's great to see the lights have been replaced on top of the poles at the tennis courts and the football field, and before we kick off on the 23rd, we will have lights. Oh, so the next home game that we have for varsity, they will have the new lights on. Modular units, all 3 modulars are fully set and the electrical work has been completed and we're ready for students at the beginning of the year. Now, as we got through July and August, we started to prep and get ready, made some repairs in the HVAC systems to ensure that those were working properly. And we, of course, you always get new ones that pop up during the year. But here's a list of things that we have addressed. At the high school here, the front office, there was a fan failure in beginning of August that was repaired. Over at the middle school, we had 3 units that all 3 had their fan drives went out at one time. Got those straight. The booth was on site doing their remodel. We had an open house going on, so that was a nice addition there. But they took care of that, and also there was 2 condenser fan motors that he took care of as well. The biggest thing that caused us the problem here is that we've had drains here at the high school on HVAC units plug up. In front of the nurse's station and here in the cafeteria, and then down in the art room. And what that did is it ran water, the condensation, when it's so hot outside and that machine is cooling so much in here, there was so much water that piled up in those drain fans, it ran back down the lines and back into the building. And so we've had the booth on site, and our guys pumped out about 300 gallons of water last week out of those drains. We did our best to do what we could to drain or fix the drain, back up again. The booth has been out a couple times, they were working with us, and I've asked them also to check the positioning of the machines to make sure that it is draining